And welcome back to the Vision High School Sports Beat. I'm Dave Yates. It is time now for the High School Notebook, brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. And we are joined this week by Bill Pucko. Bill, welcome back to the High School Sports Beat.
I've never been in this seat. This feels really weird.
It's kind of weird for you. 7 years of this show. Let's look back on some of the things that really stand out for you over that time.
Gotta look at it. First of all, I think we managed to do, and you're doing now, high school sports the way they deserve to be done. In 7 years, I counted to some time, we're running over 800 stories now that we've done. And this isn't the local news, kiss off 20-second basketball VO. These are 3 to 7 minute stories that are getting into the minds of some of these kids. Like, what are you feeling? What do you think? What do you do? Why do you do it? And it wasn't just football and basketball. It was boys and girls, and we kept score. I mean, it was even. We gave them equal weight. The field hockey players got equal weight with the football players. We did volleyball. We did bowling. Nobody was doing bowling stories. I'm particularly proud of that, in fact, because all of these kids had something to offer. You and I both started with that 20, 30-second VO. That way, you do 7, 8 basketball games. It serves a purpose, and it's a lot of work to get, but at the same time, it's not getting the depth that we're able to accomplish here. These shows, and you probably feel the same way, they've always been like in the back of my mind. It says, when we ever get the opportunity to do it right, this is what it's going to look like. And I think this program, it's been in the back of my mind for 20 years, and it was nice to have done it. What are some of those stories that really stood out for you? Well, the rule of thumb is always, for the coaches, for some reason, they don't really get on the first take what it is we're doing. So if you go to East Rochester, you tell them, look, I need a story in East Rochester that's going to play to the guy in Spencerport. So it's not going to be, hey, ER is great because we have such a great off-season program and the kids get along and the parents think that the kids deserve the attention, because none of those things fly. You have to make that story interesting to the person in Spencerport. So we had a swimmer who had a drug problem and came back, was sent out of state to get it cured, came back and was a champion. Mercy High School had a softball player who was missed an entire year of school with a bone marrow transplant. The first day she came back to the team, and the joy among the team to have her back as a teammate, even while she wasn't allowed back in the school, because of infection worries. Pittsford Mendon's got a soccer player that died in 9/11. Every year they select a kid to wear his number in honor, and they dedicated the field. That's a story that deserves to be told, every year. Mm-hmm. And there were lots of stories like that went deeper than who scored how many against who and won. And
I think that's the big thing too, is the stories that we're looking at aren't the ones that are necessarily the kid who's leading a team or a team that's doing. There's always something underneath that makes it more special for someone who's not involved intimately with that team.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times that is the kid. We select a lot of times the basis of accomplishment, what team we want to cover, but then it's what do you got? What have you got that's going to sell to another school district that's going to be interested in the story you have to tell? It could be the last person off the bench. They all have stories as a story with every team. This is a matter of going in there and finding it and then telling it effectively.
Also, we've kind of got a little more leeway time-wise, like you said. I mean, we don't have the time constraints that the news programs do, and that gives us an opportunity to go more in depth.
Yeah, well, it's a grind. I mean, it's all we do. It is not an easy thing to sometimes tell a 3 and 4 minute story and to have it make sense, and to have kids willing to go in depth enough talking about themselves and their team and their sport, and a coach who's articulate about the finer points of these things and really kind of gets what we're doing. But I think we've also educated the high schools too. It's a niche show. I've always said it's a niche show. It clearly is. It's not for everybody, because if you don't have a kid in high school sports and stuff, you really don't care about what we're serving up. But it might be the most important niche in a community has, is high school sports. It's its whole identity, and we give that life.
Great, Bill.
Hey.
Thanks for joining us. Right. As always, thanks for everything you've done for the show and for everything you've done for the area and for high school sports.
Well, thank you too.
All right, thanks, Bill. Take care. And we will be back with more of the Vision High School Sports Beat right after this.